Taiwan, I'm Joyce with news from here in Taiwan and around the world. We begin with what happened with Typhoon Krathon on Wednesday. The storm's strong winds and rains left one person dead and dozens more injured. Two others went missing after falling into storm waters. A so-called Typhoon Day was called countrywide, meaning all schools, offices, and businesses were closed. Krathon has been slowly making its way around Taiwan's southwestern coast and is expected to swing northeast across the island. Forecasters predict it to make landfall on Thursday afternoon, later than earlier predictions, before hovering over the country for a few days. Extreme rain warnings are in place in 15 counties and cities, especially in the south and east coasts. Dozens of roads and bridges are closed, and landslide warnings are in place throughout the mountainous Hualien and Taichung counties. All domestic flights have also been canceled, leaving hundreds of passengers stranded on outlying islands. Meanwhile, the crew from a Barbados-registered ship that flooded in the storm's outer rim has been rescued, but an investigation is ongoing into a possible oil spill from the ship. While the typhoon is expected to weaken as it crosses Taiwan, officials are still warning of the potential for deadly floods and landslides.
82-year-old shopkeeper Hu Yusha is determined to stay here in the home she's lived in for more than 60 years, despite a storm warning and local officials' advice for her to move to safer ground. Hu lives alone just meters from the waterfront in Taiwan's southern port city of Tainan.
当然会怕我一个人啊，我自己一个人啊，很害怕，我也是一样躲在里面的。
The full force of Typhoon Krathon is set to hit here in just a few hours, following a rare trajectory coming in from the west around Taiwan's southern tip to strike large urban centres like Tainan. Close to 70,000 people live in this ancient port district of Amping. Many of their houses are close to harbours and rivers and therefore liable to flooding. The local government has been keeping residents updated on the typhoon's progress, and there's even an app for them to check rising water levels. Residents have been advised to stock 3 days of food and supplies, and should they need to flee their homes, 16 evacuation centres have been set up to accommodate them. More than a dozen pumps across this district are moving water out of drains in an attempt to keep streets clear.
所以说目前来讲的话，应该是我们安平这边民众应该是还好，但还是会有一些焦虑的，只是应该是会平常心看待的。
Taiwan is prone to both earthquakes and typhoons. Communities here regularly practice how to respond to disasters, but its trajectory makes this typhoon different from others, and could bring a rare storm surge to cities in the country's southwest.
Most typhoons which are impacting Kaohsiung, Tainan, they've already gone across the central mountain range and are severely weakened, and it's going to be coming right off the ocean and impacting these areas. So it's going to be, you know, in very good condition. The typhoon is still going to have its very strong circulation. So my hunch is that these areas are going to experience like typhoon conditions which are very atypical to what they usually experience as the typhoons come in from the east.
It's just over 2 months since Taiwan's last typhoon, a storm that left 13 people dead and hundreds injured across the country. Many people here saying they learned lessons from that battering that they are now putting into practice. But Typhoon Krathon has already proven both atypical and unpredictable, sure to test even well-prepared communities like this port of Amping. John Su, Justin Wu and Rick Lowett in Tainan for TaiwanPlus.
The Defense Ministry says Taiwan will be partially reimbursed for weapons bought from the U.S. arms maker RTX, formerly called Raytheon. The U.S. government reached a settlement with RTX after it was accused of price gouging its international customers. The arms maker has agreed to return profits gained from inflating prices, including those taken from Taiwan. RTX builds the Patriot missile and radar systems used to defend the country. The Defense Ministry spokesperson was unable to provide details on the settlement.
这个案子正好证明了美台双方在军售的制度上都有非常严谨的防弊设计。考量整个案子是司法侦办的案件，那么细节没有办法公开，以免影响进度。
The U.S. is Taiwan's most important arms supplier. Canada has implemented steep tariffs on Chinese-made electric vehicles. A 100% surtax on electric vehicles from China is now in place. A 25% surtax on imports of steel and aluminium products will take effect later this month. Canada's government announced the tariffs in August following similar moves by the US and the European Union. In response, China's Commerce Ministry has appealed to the World Trade Organization to conduct an anti-discrimination probe. Taiwan's foreign minister has been making the case for the country to join a key trade pact. Taiwan has applied to join the Comprehensive and Progressive Agreement for Trans-Pacific Partnership, or CPTPP. Its members include Australia and Canada. But China also wants to join. Lin Jialong said Taiwan would help to diversify supply chains away from authoritarian countries that use economic might to achieve their political goals.
As we know, Taiwan's semiconductor industry excels in research and design, system integration, R&D, and manufacturing. Taiwan is also a world leader in ICT product manufacturing. This has underlined our critical role in maintaining the economic security of the Asia-Pacific region and upholding global supply chains.
Lin Jialong was speaking at an international seminar on the pact's need for supply chain resilience. Police are investigating at least 15 cases of scalpers reselling tickets to this year's National Day celebration concert. 5,000 free tickets to the annual event were scooped up within 15 minutes of their release on Monday. Many of these were later listed online for high prices the same day. Authorities in Taiwan are warning consumers to be vigilant. They've also formed a police task force to help take down the scalpers. A deconstructed historic monument in Taipei, the Zhongshan Bridge, has been hidden from public view for decades. As Chris Gorin reports, debates over both the bridge's past and future raise questions about Taiwan's colonial past and its national identity.
This is the Zhongshan Bridge, once one of Taipei's most beautiful landmarks. But that was before the original structure was controversially taken down some 20 years ago, and a new one constructed in its place. These days, few locals remember the bridge.
没有哎，这是很久以前的吗？是台北吗？
对，
没有看过。
哎，这是南投吧？台北。
Originally built during the 1930s, during the Japanese colonial period, it was known as the Meiji Bridge, after the Japanese emperor. By the 1990s, after typhoons caused flooding upstream, the bridge, whose heritage was already a point of contention, became the subject of further debate among politicians and the city's Water Resources Agency that said tearing down the bridge would reduce flooding. The bridge was eventually demolished in 2002 under then Taipei Mayor Ma Ying-jeou, a member of the Kuomintang, or Chinese Nationalist Party, who went on to become president of Taiwan.
At that time, the nationalist government conceptualized the bridge as a symbol of oppression, which was a bit ridiculous. Additionally, another reason has to do with flooding, which obviously was also an exaggeration.
Ma promised to rebuild the bridge at a new location within a year. But 22 years and several changes in government later, the historic bridge remains in ruins under this highway bypass. Local city councilors are now pushing for its reconstruction.
其实历任的，就是说有4位市长，那再来，其实过去也有非常多的市议员都有在关注。那如果能够把中山桥这个议题完成，然后也能够让他们更能够理解过去台湾的历史的脉络是什么。我觉得这个是我们想要做的事情。
But there are more complexities to Taiwan's understanding of its history than the preservation of a colonial structure. This is the office of the President of Taiwan. It's one of the most important buildings left over from Japan's 50-year colonization in the early 1900s. And as the seat of government, it's also at the heart of Taiwanese national identity. People here are still debating the place of Japanese colonial rule in their heritage. It's a highly politicized issue, with opinions often divided among party and generational lines. After World War II, during Taiwan's authoritarian period, the nationalist government tore down several Japanese buildings, replacing them with those in a Chinese style, while more contemporary efforts focus on preserving their original appearance.
Demolition or restoration is just the surface, but what's really important is the political implication of urban heritage, and to express our diversified understanding of history and identities.
其实这座桥它作为一个硬体的物质，反映了在台湾非常复杂的国家和历史的认同。光是这件事情，其实也是值得好好被论述和对待。那就我的认知，就是有关于日本时代的历史的不同的评价，还有在情感方面的一些对于象征物的处理方式的决策，才是比较重要的重点。
For now, the remains of the historical bridge remain where they lie, near forgotten and unrecognized. Their fate dependent on a new set of politicians, tasked with weighing how to define their value in a changing city. Eason Chen and Chris Gorin for TaiwanPlus.
An acrobatic troupe in Taiwan has been helping people with developmental disabilities find their role in society and explore their potential through art and work. Irene Lin takes a look.
上车预备，1、2、3，一条线哦，一条线。
Kicking off with a firm thrust, these unicyclers in blue uniforms are members of the new Heart Theater troupe. Eagle is the oldest. He turned 28 this year, but doctors say he has the brain of a 13-year-old due to developmental disability. He's been training on the unicycle for 7 years.
大轮车比较辛苦，因为有些动作很难练。大轮车比较靠腰，而且要很好的平衡感。
Parents of some younger members with autism and ADHD are beginning to see changes in how their kids behave.
中正纪念堂去表演。 然后就有小女生跑来问我说，她想去跟小花拍照，可不可以？小花竟然答应说要跟那个小女生拍照，很出乎我意料，改变很多。
今天要干嘛？要做家事、洗碗那一些，他会更专心说，什么事情要赶快做，他会去了解这个。
The troupe has taken part in several competitions to show off their progress after months and years of practice. At his first talent contest, Eagle placed second in the physical category, impressing the audience and the judges.
就是在台上，即便有那么一点点的失误，还不疾不徐的跟观众说我要再一次。我觉得那个瞬间让我看见就是一种生命的一个韧性啊。
Despite their innate challenges, there are some gifted acrobats in the troupe. With a little bit of training and love, founder and coach Wang Guanghua says these diamonds in the rough will shine and be capable of playing a full role in society.
能力再差的，你就是用时间换取空间，他一定会的。尤其是自闭症的孩子，他天生平衡感就比正常人还好，他们的单轮车技术比我还好。我就想要证明给所有的家长看，是可以工作，只要我们大家齐心努力。
People with disabilities are often excluded from the workforce and social circles due to physical and mental impediments. But the performers from New Heart Theater Troupe are living examples of how dedication and support can make the seemingly impossible come true. Ryan Wu and Irene Lin for TaiwanPlus.
Thank you for watching What's Up Taiwan. You can visit the TaiwanPlus website or follow our social media for more of our stories. Finally, we take you to Easter Island with its iconic Moai statues. Tourists flock to the Chilean territory to witness a solar eclipse on Wednesday. I'm Joyce. Take care and see you next time.